Girls be like, he should buy me a purse. He should pay to get my nails done. He should pick up the tab. He should spoil me. He's so lucky that I'm with him. What do you do for him? Did you get him a PlayStation 5, the new Xbox, a video game, maybe some sneakers? Pick up the tab for once? No? Interesting. So you're telling me you want your man to spoil you, but you won't spoil your man. Do better, ladies.
Let me ask you a question. Is your happiness important? You ask that question to most women and you'll get a defiant, sort of empowered, yes, of course, I'm a woman. My happiness is very important. I deserve to be happy. You ask that same question to men, is your happiness important? And you're more likely to get some hesitation. We think about our masculine duty. We think about our responsibility to others. We have this impulse to sacrifice what's right for us for the sake of other people. That's part of what it means to be a man. It starts very early. Even as a kid, a lot of boys are just sort of brushed aside. Their emotions aren't considered important. Maybe some of the people watching this right now can relate to this feeling, like when they were growing up, everybody else in their family, their feelings, their perspective, their happiness was really important, but not theirs. When we're young boys growing up, the ideas that we're exposed to about masculinity and what it means to be a man have a huge influence on how we turn out to be as adults. My latest Patreon video, which you can watch here, is about how masculine identity is created in youth. But almost universal to the male experience is the sense that part of masculinity, part of being a man, is doing it by yourself, going it alone, not expecting anybody to help or rescue you. This is the hard truth that a lot of men feel at the deep core of their being, which is that if they are unhappy, too bad, that's their issue. You're going to have to deal with it by yourself. Yet even that's not straightforward, because we judge men who place a high value on their own happiness to be greedy, to be selfish, to be narcissistic. A lot of men are forced into that mindset. They feel backed into a corner. They'd probably prefer everybody around them care massively about their happiness and work to support them. But when they sense that kind of help is not forthcoming, they take it upon themselves. All right, I'm a man, I'll do it myself. And then to suddenly find that you're facing criticisms for taking responsibility for your own happiness, for placing a high value on your own enjoyment of life, that can really come as a sting. It just sort of baffles the mind. Like you've got a guy thinking, okay, all right, I guess I'm a man and nobody else is going to care about my happiness. I'll just care about my own. Wait, what? I'm not even allowed to do that. Otherwise, I'm called greedy and selfish. I'm just expected to look after other people. I'm not meant to think about myself, or I'm just self-involved. These are the kind of toxic slurs that your ex-girlfriend used to throw at you because she wanted you to feel guilty, because when you feel guilt, you're easier to manipulate. You're more easily controlled. And a low-quality woman really doesn't want you to value your own happiness, because otherwise your self-esteem might rise too high, and then you're going to realize that she's a toxic, low-quality woman, that you're too good for her, and you're going to leave her. Do you see? She has a vested interest in making sure you don't believe that your happiness is worth very much. She doesn't want you to think that your happiness is important. That's how you can tell that she's a low-quality woman, because high-quality women are not like that. A high-quality woman is confident that even if you have very high self-esteem, that you place a high value on your own happiness, you're not going to leave her, because you're just going to be able to better appreciate how amazing she is. She's not threatened by your good qualities. High-quality women love a powerful demonstration of self-esteem from men. They find it very attractive, very sexually desirable if a man comes into her presence and everything about him just emanates that he is important, that his happiness is extremely important. She'll love it. It's a powerful demonstration of self-responsibility, because any man who's able to own the fact that his happiness is very important is likely going to take the responsibility and initiative to make sure that his life is happy. He's not some loser waiting around for somebody else, some woman to come along and rescue him. He's not looking for a surrogate mother. He doesn't have that de facto codependent mindset just lying in wait for the perfect woman to come along and be his missing half. No, he's confident, he's responsible, he's independent, and that's what women want. They do not want to mother their boyfriends. Women are just not wired that way. They expect men to take care of them. They don't expect to take care of men. This is one of the things that women are always testing for in the first couple of dates. Like you're having a conversation with her and you'll notice that she's just scanning you, scanning your facial expressions, scanning your responses, and what she's looking for are any signs of neediness. If you come across as somebody who needs to be rescued, she's not going to be attracted to you. She wants to see independence, confidence, competence. She wants to see that you understand that your life is valuable and that your own happiness is important. To put it very simply, women sexually desire men who don't need anything from them. I'll say that again so it really sinks in. Women sexually desire men who don't need anything from them. But the point that I want to make in this video video is that it's not just you being happy that's important. Like if you just sort of accidentally stumble into some blissful stupor, that's not necessarily going to be hugely attractive to women, as opposed to a man who has consciously identified that his happiness is important and then taken dedicated steps to realize that happiness. It's not just about the end result of how happy he is, it's about the value that he places on himself. She wants a man who views his happiness as something that is extremely important, a very high value. Contrary to the advice that most men have been given in this culture, women would actually prefer that you place a higher value on your own happiness than hers. Hopefully you've realized that women are absolutely sick of this simping epidemic that we're in the middle of. They find these kinds of men disgusting, the kinds that constantly pay them compliments, do them favors, that just sort of orbit around them as backup boyfriends, constantly reinforcing this message that as men, they're lowly, they're disgusting, they're beastly, their time's not valuable, their money's not valuable. Anything that they can sacrifice to the woman's happiness is justified because women are so special and unique and angelic. Women hate that. And you know why? It's because deep down, they know that it's not true. Women know themselves. Women know other women, and they know that they're not special, that they're not unique, that they're not angelic. They're flawed human beings like the rest of us. And all these guys who are pretending that that's not the case, elevating and pedestalizing these women, it's simply reinforcing that those men are clueless, that they have no social calibration, that they have no self-respect, no self-esteem. It just comes across as desperate that these men are willingly blinding themselves to the reality of the character of the woman that they're chasing, and makes it obvious what their agenda is. These are guys that are just interested in sex, or just interested in being rescued by some surrogate mother. Whether it's sexual or emotional, the women sense the amount of need coming from these men, and they find it disgusting. Ask any woman this question: which man would you feel more comfortable around? The man who says, I'm not important, my happiness is nothing, it's just something to be dismissed, the only thing that matters is whether you're happy? Or the man that says, of course my happiness is important, that's why I place such a high value on it and I take action to make sure that I'm happy? I'm telling you, the overwhelming majority of women would rather you think first about your own happiness and her happiness second, because women are sexually attracted to men who value themselves. So to put this into practice, when you're planning a date for a woman, you need to stop thinking about what's going to make her happy and start thinking about what's going to make you happy. If you plan a date that's based around your interests, things that you enjoy, she's going to find that really exciting and enjoyable. She's going to enjoy going on an adventure with you, seeing you in your element. She'll love learning about your passions and your interests and getting a sneak peek into the world that is you. What she's not going to enjoy is you just focusing intensely on her, what makes her happy. What do you like? What do you want to do next? Oh, don't worry about me. I just want to make sure you're happy. Women fucking hate that. It's weird. It's creepy. It's way too much pressure. Take the focus off of her and put the focus on yourself. Aren't you important? Don't you deserve happiness? And if you do, why aren't you treating yourself that way? Because this isn't just something to practice during dating or relationships. It's about how you relate to yourself as an individual. Do you live your life as though your time is valuable, as though your enjoyment of life is important? Do you value your own happiness? Every single day, you should be acting in such a way that reinforces that your happiness is very important. I'll give you a couple of examples from my own life. I don't eat bad food, ever. Every single meal that I prepare takes time. I use quality ingredients because food is a huge part of my enjoyment of life. I deserve to eat good food. Yeah, it takes more time to prepare and it's more expensive, and I could always just get some frozen microwave meal or something like that. But no, my happiness is important, and I reinforce that to myself every single mealtime. Also, I don't watch any TV shows or movies unless they have a very high rating on IMDb. When it comes to media consumption, I only want to watch the best of the best. My time is too valuable to spend on terrible media, and the same goes for books. Unless it has at least a 4 rating on Goodreads, I don't read it. I also don't like to spend any time around ugliness because for me, beauty creates happiness. And so I live in a nice house. I live in a rainforest. My furniture is nice. My couch is comfy. I live in a small little tourist town with beautiful forests and beaches and farmlands. I like being surrounded by beauty. That reinforces to me that my happiness is too important for me to be exposed to ugliness on a day-to-day basis. In every area of my life, the decisions that I make reinforce that my happiness is important. I quit jobs that I wasn't enjoying. I ended friendships that were no longer interesting to me. One of the most consistent pieces of feedback that I've gotten from the people who know me in my personal life is that I make them nervous. Sometimes being in my presence can be a nerve-wracking experience because they can sense that I place a huge value on my own time and my own happiness. That makes people feel a certain amount of pressure being around me, and I'm okay with that. It's not intentional. That's not why I am the way that I am, but at the same time, it's not my job to make sure that people feel comfortable in my presence. If you're going to occupy my time, it better be for something good. It better be making me happy. I'm not talking about a selfish, exploitative happiness, about using other people for my own selfish gain. I'm talking about an inner value, an inner peace, a satisfaction, a contentment, a self-esteem. I even extend this to my online life. Like, I pay for things like Spotify and YouTube Premium because I don't want to listen to the ads. I consider my mind space to be too valuable to be filled up with crap. I don't want to be listening to an amazing playlist or an incredible podcast and then suddenly have like some toxic, cheesy, buy more stuff consumerism thing come in the middle of that. Every time that I spend money online or in the real world, it's to reinforce to myself that I'm important, that my happiness is important. I bet for you guys who've bought my premium content, whether it's my Patreon or that's asking me for advice or my course, you've done it for the same reason, which is because you value yourself. You recognize that this is important, that your happiness is important, and a way of spending that money is a way of reinforcing that value to yourself. For me, every purchase online or in the real world reinforces my self-esteem, reinforces to me that my happiness is important. I could have bought some cheaper house in an uglier town, but that's not good for my self-esteem. Living in a nice house in a nice place makes me feel good about myself, makes me feel like my happiness is important. So to turn the mirror back on you now, are you living your life as an individual in such a way that reinforces to yourself that your happiness is important, that your time is important, that your money is important? Are you spending your time on things that improve your life, that make you happy? Are you spending your money on things that are going to benefit you? Or are you wasting your time? Are you wasting your money? Are you constantly reinforcing the message to yourself that you don't matter, that you don't count, that your happiness isn't worth anything? Because if that's the message that you're giving to yourself, I guarantee that is the message that you're broadcasting to women. Women are attracted to men who treat their own happiness as important. And they're likely to just follow suit, to fall into your frame. If you treat your happiness as very important, then she will treat your happiness as important. So if you don't want to be taken for granted by women, stop taking yourself for granted. And for the love of God, please stop treating her happiness as though it's more important than yours. You're not doing yourself or her any favors. You're coming across as a loser, and women want to date winners. You've probably seen people say this in my comment section. It's one of those manosphere phrases that if you treat a woman like a celebrity, she's going to treat you like a fan. It's 100% true. Stop it. Cut it out right now. Start treating yourself like you're a celebrity. Your happiness is important. You need to know that deep inside your mind and start acting that way. One of the bonuses of having that mindset, having that value system, is that it's going to prevent you from being suckered into a toxic relationship with a low quality woman. Because once you see that this relationship is not making you happy, you'll end it. You'll go and find something better, which is exactly what you should do. No more, oh, but it's my masculine duty, and as long as she's happy, I guess that's all that matters. No, you matter. For every woman in your life, you need to ask this question: is she making your life happier? If the answer is yes, good, great, keep going, that's fantastic. If not, move on, find something better.